Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter and this is James.
Hello!
And today we're talking about volume 17 of To Your Eternity. Here we are again. I think this is maybe the slowest releasing series out of the ones that we're covering, or that we're caught up with,
Probably.
maybe. So it's been a while, but man, I'm super happy to get into this. Do you have anything you want to say before we get into the character discussions?
I think that this cliffhanger really killed me.
Hmm.
When I was reading it, it just went by. Those last few pages went by so quickly,
Yeah.
and then it's the end, and it's like, what? Like, no, where's the rest of it?
Right.
It's kind of frustrating, especially since
Oh.
I don't think we're gonna get another volume for a while yet. So it's kind of frustrating, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's good to leave on a juicy cliffhanger in a way. But man,
Yeah, and it is fitting, or rather, it is. I guess it's keeping the trend of the previous volumes of this arc, with ending it on
true.
with Mizuha kind of in a more or less intense situation.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was great. And yeah, we probably won't get to the next volume until next year at some point. Hopefully early next year, but who knows?
Hmm.
Very well then. Let's start by talking about Fushi. When he finally reconnects with his friends at the start of this book, he doesn't really understand why they aren't all living happily the way they live, and
Mm.
I still don't think he quite understands kind of the idea of, well, depression or other reasons, I guess, for not being perfectly content with life.
Hmm.
But I think at the end, or during this book, I think he's at least starting to understand it a little bit, but he's still got, I guess, some ways to go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I won't say that he understands perfectly, but I do feel like he has come to a better understanding of, you know, it's possible for people to be in a situation that is, relatively comfortable and yet still have some, kind of mental issues going on.
Right, for
And I think
sure.
that's important for kind of the main antagonist in a way of this arc being Mizuha, as that she has basically everything for her, but she's going through a lot of stuff mentally speaking.
Yeah.
And obviously, we understand that it's a very tough time for her. But I think seeing his own friends and the people that he cares about deeply go through some of these trials in their own lives maybe will help him understand better not just his friends but also Mizuha's situation.
Right. Yeah, I think both Fushi and Mizuha have things that they need to learn, I guess, or kind of come to terms with that they haven't yet.
Hmm. But I will say that for Fushi and his friends, at the end of kind of, it felt like it was like a little bit of an arc, kind of a couple chapters that was dealing with Fushi kind of letting go in a way.
Yeah.
When he gets a smartphone and is talking to Gugu, that kind of felt like really satisfying and almost like a
Yeah.
an ending to that kind of trial for him. Not to say I'm not saying that he's perfectly understands what people are going through now, but I feel like he's in a better place. He himself is in a better place mentally, and I think that he's a little better at understanding how people feel.
Yeah, and like 'cause having now understood that some of his friends have desires for various reasons to leave Yanome, I think he has understood that even if his friends can live forever, nothing will really last forever exactly the way it is. Kind of like
Hmm.
everyone living in the same house together, for example. That isn't gonna last an eternity, even if they all live for an eternity. And like as he imagined March growing up into adulthood, like that was, I think, really the best kind of visualization of things will change, kind of regardless. And I really enjoyed seeing Fuji kind of come to that realization, and as you said, throughout those chapters, come to terms with it and letting go of Gugu like that, or not letting go, but well, partially letting go in a sense.
Partially.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it was great growth.
Hmm. It was kind of hard to see him really struggle with potentially people leaving him in a way.
Yeah,
It was almost like, Fushi, you feel bad for him, but also you could tell that it's not quite the right, well, right and wrong are so subjective, but it's just not the people don't work that way. People do kind of move on in a way.
Yeah, yeah, it's just life.
Yeah, it's just life. What I like about that section as well and his kind of growth is how comparable it is to Hayase and Mizuha and just
Precisely.
their whole thing.
Mm.
And that's why I like the cover of this because it harkens back to I forget which cover it is, but the one with Hayase is on it and she's sitting on a chair.
Right, yeah, volume 5.
It's a stark or it's a pretty close comparison to that.
Hmm.
And when I first saw the volume, I was like, why? I figured what they were going for, but I was also like, why? Like, what? Why this kind of volume? I don't get it. And then it took me reading the whole volume and then coming back to it. And actually, right before I started reading again, I was like, oh, that's why.
Mm.
Understanding because his kind of possessiveness of not letting people go away and treating his friends as kind of his own was comparable to Hayase. Now I'm not now he's not as bad as Hayase was or anything like that, but you could definitely see the maybe the similarities in that, and I think
Yeah,
he himself realized that and was determined to change in that way.
precisely. Yeah, yeah, it's great. And I think he also kind of, for the first time, really kind of allowed himself to feel, or at least to show, those kind of selfish desires. And this
Mm.
one, because up until now, or really the only desire of his that we really, I guess, or at least from what I can remember right now, that he's really expressed before, has
It's been
been,
so long.
right. It's been the desire to, well, to make all of his friends' dreams come true, which obviously is mentioned in this book as well. But that's
Hmm.
been like his long time goal, kind of, more or less. And I think that is a very selfless wish, or dream. So I guess it makes sense for him to have a more selfish dream as well. Which, I mean, I do kind of also think that his dream of wanting his friends' dreams to come true, I think is maybe not a dream that he should hold on to too tight, I guess.
I think he doesn't or in that moment he didn't quite understand what that means. His idea was that they would stay with him and never have anything wrong happen, have everything provided for them,
Yeah.
and that they would be living their dreams in that aspect. But Tonari makes an interesting point where when people pursue their dreams, they have you know pain and anxiety, and she explains that's why you're chasing your dream as well, and that's why you also have pain and anxiety about all this. So I think Fushi is coming or has come to understand that in order for his dream to be true and that his friends live out their dreams is very very complicated here. That he needs to let go. He needs to let them experience pain and anxiety, but also let them if they need to roam free, let them do so, or however it may let them live their lives in a way.
Right. Yeah. I just don't know if this dream, because Tonari also says in this volume that, and in the same scene that you were talking about, that their dreams will come true without Fushi's help,
Mm.
kind of regardless of whether he supports, I guess he can support them without having that as his main goal, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess with that, like, yeah, they can reach their goals and dreams even without Fushi having that as like his main drive. And I think that's really true. And I think Fushi deserves to have a main goal that's a bit more selfish than the one he's been having. And by that, I don't mean that it should be as extreme as to live with all of his friends forever and ever, but, well, more selfish than just wanting to fulfill everybody else's dreams. Like, something in between living with everyone for eternity and making everybody's dreams come true. Something in between there, because I think the two dreams that he had, or yeah, the ones that were dealt with in this volume, were both extreme in various ways. They're like in completely different ways, and I think
Mm.
neither is exactly really good. Maybe I guess it's
Mm.
debatable, but I don't know. I think
Mm.
if he could find a goal or a dream that is something else other than those two, then maybe that might make it better for him. Like, maybe he'd feel better going after a goal like that, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what kind of goal that could be. I
Yeah,
mean, maybe it is to become more like the beholder, or
precisely.
or maybe it's something a little more temporal. Yeah, have a family, like an actual family. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because I was thinking that something, like, depending on what his dream might be, his other new potential dream might be, then maybe that's something that can help him grow to understand humans better than he does at the moment. And if it's
Hmm.
something like what you said, like having a family or something, then that I think is definitely an example of something that would help him understand humanity and humans in general better.
Yeah. Plus, it would be interesting to have a Fushi and child kind of arc. Maybe be, I don't know,
Yeah,
just see how he handles the the life of a human being that he helped create, seeing them
exactly.
go from birth to death.
Mm.
um
Yeah, oof.
yeah, that'd be interesting.
Well, I mean, we did see him becoming a turtle mom in this volume. Uh,
Dude, you called it.
I guess I did.
At least I remember you saying that,
uh,
or that they would come back into the stories in some way.
I may have, yeah. Been so long, but yeah, I think I remember saying something about that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it was just a short thing, but it was sweet. And something I liked in that scene was also how, while he was naming all of the turtle babies, he mentioned that he should name the horse at some point too.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of been brought up before. I think
Hmm.
Aiko has mentioned like, oh, the horse should have a name or something like that at some point before, and like at least this isn't the first time that this is brought up into the story, and so I feel like it's got to happen at some point. Like there's no doubt in my mind that the horse will get a name other than horse at some point.
Right.
And I wonder if it might end up being Piorin.
Hmm.
Like if it might, if Fushi might understand or something, and or just feel like the horse behaves like Piorin, which it does, and maybe name it after her without necessarily knowing that it is Piorin's Spy.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Hmm.
It is interesting to see how he goes from not really caring to name the horse, or just thinking horse is horse,
Right.
uh, to actually when the children were, or the turtle children were born, uh, no ninja turtle power here, unfortunately, but
No.
when they were born, he automatically starts naming them,
Right.
basically.
Yeah. First thing, kind of. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know what's exactly changed from that moment to here. But he seems, maybe he's finally getting the concept, and like you said, he turns to the horse. It's like, we gotta name you too. So yeah, it's I'm excited to see what he names it, as well as potentially what that means for him as a character,
Yeah.
or for his character.
I mean, maybe this is like maybe these are early signs to him pointing to him becoming a parent eventually,
Maybe.
like leading into that in a way.
Hmm. Who do I want to be like? That before the turtles were born,
Oh
that's what he was
yeah.
contemplating. So I get that can potentially be another goal for him, or the goal for him. Um, I don't know exactly if he's going to be like, I want to be like the Beholder, because I don't think he really has the greatest image of that person.
Right.
So who or what concept is he going to want to follow? It's I don't know. I don't know who does he have as his role model. I mean, he has plenty of friends, and Gugu, Bon, um, Tonari, like they're great role models in various extents, but I don't know. I don't know who he would think to be like, I want to be that guy, or I
Yeah.
want to be this kind of person. You know?
Precisely. Yeah, man, that's something I really hope that he'll find an answer to soon.
Yeah. He starts to take his normal life seriously. Like the alter ego life,
Mm-hmm.
going to school, even dyes his hair, which I kind of don't like, to be honest. Like, not, I mean, he's fine in black hair. It's more so that conforming to stupid
Ah,
school rules like that, especially when the white hair is his natural hair color.
true, for
Like,
sure.
I mean, to Oima's credit, that definitely is a thing that happens in Japan. It's
Mm,
frustrating, but it does happen.
that is so strange.
So I don't know if she's if this is more of like a this is just the way it is, or is this
Mm.
a maybe she's trying to make a statement.
Precisely,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of doing that. But either way, that's not my new thing. But yes,
Yeah,
he's
no, but I agree though. Mm.
yeah making sure he's conforming or getting into the school life, being a normal middle schooler.
Mm. Very well. Let's talk about Mizuha next.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, the first we saw of her in this volume was so disturbing and creepy.
Oh,
Like sewing that Fushi body
oh,
together while singing happy birthday to herself. Oh,
oh my gosh.
mm.
She's reaching new levels of psychopath.
Oh, that
This,
was
oh my
very,
gosh.
very disturbing.
You know what else was disturbing? Was that a bowl of fingers?
Mm.
I'm so confused because she reaches and eats something, and then later on, another panel, she's like spitting. Is that a finger out? I'm so
I
confused.
thought it looked like that too, but I was really unsure because yeah, that is strange, right?
That's so
Why
weird.
would she suddenly be eating fingers?
I don't
But
know.
I also thought it looked like that. So it probably since we both saw it, then it probably is that, I guess.
Why?
Ah, man, Mizuha. Oh.
I can't. You can't really tell what's in the bowl. It's really strange looking.
Yeah, like I mean, because I thought like it may just be like other, I guess, human body parts, maybe. But man, why?
Why?
Yeah, big question. Why?
Why?
Ugh. Yeah, not fun.
Because either way you look at it, that looks like a finger with the fingernail on it. Like that's.
Yeah, yeah, and that one definitely.
I don't know, man.
Mm.
That's a bit too much. Bit too much, Mizuha. Bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, this volume, assuming that is what it is, which I mean, yeah, it looks like it is. I feel like this volume went gorier, in some aspects
Oh.
than I think this manga has been before. Firstly, there's this that we've been talking about, which is a yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pretty gross. But there was also, when Tonari shot the fake Fushi, and like the
Yeah.
whole, like, you saw like the bones and things coming out of like the wound and like where it was
Mm.
shot. I thought that was pretty gory, like compared to stuff that we've
Mm-hmm.
seen before in this. But I thought it was great.
Yeah, very creepy. Definitely new level. Like, it's almost taking Mizuha to the lowest of lows in order to maybe, hopefully, potentially reach her up.
Right. Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
But,
She's so interesting in that way because,
mm.
yeah, can she? Will she make it?
Oh my gosh. What if. I don't know if they would be able to collect enough examples, but what if they had just been collecting pieces of Fushi and the stuff and they just eat
Oh.
Fushi. Like not only did she
Oh.
make a puppet, but she's also like eating parts of
Oh,
man.
Fushi's body part. I mean, dude, if that
At least she's not murdering people.
if that's what it is, then it would make sense, sort of. If she's eating specifically Fushi's body,
yeah.
it would make sense. Actually, man, I hadn't thought of that. That's really interesting. Oh my gosh.
She's taken Vor to another level, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know.
Yes, you are. On this podcast, you are.
Oh, oh gosh.
Gosh. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Now that I can't confirm that, of course.
No, no,
That's just
of course. But I mean, I like that explanation.
me trying to make sense of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the best explanation we've discussed so far. As for that, definitely. Oof. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought it was really sad to see how distrustful Miso had become of Fushi when they met here, because
yeah.
I'm pretty sure during those specific scenes when she, I guess, expressed feeling that way, I'm quite sure it was Mizuha and not the knocker speaking in those instances.
Mm.
And even after Fuji showed her the photos in the album, she still,
Mm-hmm.
she still doesn't believe Hanna and the others.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks they don't care about her, even though I think it's very clear that they do. But I think I think that's real, or well, with some people who suffer from mental disorders and depression, sort of, and well, and yeah, and other mental disorders,
Yeah.
it is
Hmm.
something that sadly does happen, and I think Oima kind of captures that really accurately in Mizuha here, and like she has been capturing it really well throughout this arc as well. But I think yeah, in this volume, showing that kind of distrustful side and kind of doubtful side hit really hard for me. I thought it was excellently done, and just felt really, it felt real, and it made me really sad to see it.
Yeah. Before this volume, I kind of given up a little bit on truly understanding which one is at the forefront. Like, who's actually controlling Mizuha? Is it Mizuha or is the knocker at this point? Because
Mm,
it's got to be going back and forth.
right.
Um, and so for this one, yeah, going or this whole scene, I was under the impression that it had to be Mizuha who was feeling this way.
Right. And then a little later in that scene, there were times when Mizuha was just like straight up speaking like a villain, and I'm quite sure
Mm.
that in those instances it was the knocker speaking. At least that's what I'm choosing to think.
Oh yeah, I don't
Because it
know.
was very like almost stereotypically villainous, like
True.
ooh, this will be fun if they manage to escape. I'll let one of you go, like all those things, and kind of really just laughing, kind of evilly,
Mm.
like it. I felt like that was more likely the knocker than Mizuha herself.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. So maybe
Um,
there is a bit of switching back and forth, but it just
a bit,
there's no indication really, other than I guess that did sound more evil.
right? Yeah,
But there's no like twitch or there's no
no,
glimmer or anything. Like it's just it's so impossible to tell exactly.
yeah, that's what makes the knockers in this area so scary.
Yeah, right.
But I will say I was a little bit confused by the very end of this volume. Kind of the
I don't
last
know,
few
man.
pages. Were you as well? Were you also a bit confused, or
Yeah, a little bit. I think I implied it in the very beginning of the podcast, and that
right?
it went so fast.
It did go fast, especially when you flip the page and suddenly her dad is falling down, and he seems
Well,
to
he
have
shot himself.
right. That's what I also concluded. But why
Yeah,
is my question there?
I don't
Why
know.
did he suddenly shoot himself in the mouth? And And I guess what happens after that is that Fushi just takes action quickly and kind of making use of the distraction, I suppose. And he's the
Hmm.
one to kill the knocker cages. I assume that Fushi does that quickly and that, like, right after, and then summoning the castle of Renreal.
Oh, so that's what that is. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, the castle part kind of confused me. Like, well, where'd that come from?
Right. Yeah, but I'm quite sure that's the top of the Renreal castle. But
Hmm.
still, Fushi must have taken action really quickly after Mizuha's dad shot herself. Which I mean, I guess I can buy that.
It's almost as if he had a plan from the very beginning,
Right.
which is kind of uncharacteristically smart for Fushi, to be honest. But hey, yeah, maybe going into it, and that's why he was so willing to show himself letting go of his connection.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
that he had already kind of planned this all out. He was waiting for the right moment. Obviously, I don't think he expected the dad to shoot himself. Um,
Yeah.
that is so that part is so confusing because Mizuha or the knocker says,
Mm.
uh, "Oh, that's no fair. You can't go into paradise before us. Come on." And almost thinking that their plan was to just everyone kill each other, or I don't know. Like I'm not exactly sure what she thought at that moment. But what brings my confusion even greater is the fact that Mizuha's mom is like, "No, honey, I love him," and all that kind of stuff. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
was that the knocker talking, or did suddenly Mizuha's mom get back into the body?
Right.
I don't
Exactly.
know.
That's also like the maybe even a bigger what the hell than
Yeah.
her father shooting himself. Is that
Hmm.
because I don't. I don't see a reason why Mizuha's mother's Phi would suddenly be able to re-enter the body. First of all, I
Yeah,
don't
it doesn't make
that
sense.
doesn't make sense. So that only leaves out the option of it being the knocker saying this, which is really interesting if that's the case because I don't know, we haven't seen a knocker express love or anything like that before, have we?
I don't I don't think so.
We know that they've been driven by emotion. I think that's something that's been established, but it's
Hmm.
been unclear as to what type of emotion. But yeah, I guess maybe that this ties into that actually. I hadn't thought of it until I just said it, but mm, man, yeah, I'm expecting a lot of answers in the next volume, or well, I'm hoping at least.
I'm hoping.
Uh,
I mean, look, they can't just like, and now let's go see what Bone is doing. Like, like,
dude,
no, let's go
just
see
because
what
you said
Gugu's
that, just
doing.
because you said that, they're probably gonna do that.
Ah, dang it. She would do that
Oh,
too.
it's gonna be him in a TV studio somewhere, like in a different country.
Fighting the Church of Bennett,
Yeah,
and
right.
then we'll see Gugu and how things are going and
Yeah.
Takunaha or whatever.
uh, but yeah, no, this ending was very wacky and it really related to Mizo's parents in various regards. Like
Hmm.
the two of them, their actions and words, I guess, are very confusing and interesting.
Make it make sense, Petter. Make it make sense. I can't wait until the next volume.
I yeah. Oh, it's gonna be a long wait, but
It's
ah, my
frustrating.
gosh. Well, well.
And it's yeah, for me maybe I expressed this already, but it's while I do think this volume is very good, it's also like it's I almost feel cheated. It's in a way. It's like it's not fair to make me wait this long.
Yeah. Oh, but it's gonna be worth it. Something that Mizu, or probably a knocker actually, while in Mizuha's body, says that their new goal is to take over all humans, or well, it doesn't say exactly those words, but it seems like the knocker's new goal is to take over all of humans in order to make
Yeah.
the world a better place. Not just humans who are suffering in various ways, but just humans in general, because
Mhm.
they just see that as the only solution to making the world better.
Mm.
So that's interesting knowing that, but it made me wonder. I guess if they have the resources to do that, I, I guess why hadn't they already done that? Um, and I guess an explanation to that might be because they've been growing their numbers and kind of they haven't been able to take over, I guess, every human until recently, until now,
Mm.
perhaps. But yeah, still interesting to know about that being their new goal or their current goal.
Yeah.
How can we fight them?
Well, I mean, supposedly Fushi could have the ability to destroy them,
Yeah, right.
uh,
Like
like what the Beholder did,
mm,
but
but he needs to
he's
learn that.
not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Anything else on Mizuha?
that's all I have.
Then moving on to Tonari. She points out to Fushi that pain and doubt are kind of natural because we're all human, and we kind of touched on this earlier. And she doesn't seem to think that those should disappear. And I think that that's a very kind of a very human take on it, and maybe even something like maybe something that only a human can understand. Or maybe even something that only a human who has lived for a long time can understand. Because obviously
Hmm.
she has lived for, in total, probably definitely over 100 years. Or wait, no, but she has lived for a long time. Maybe almost 100 years actually. Anyway, she has a lot of life experience, so it makes sense for her to, I guess, have accepted this and come to that conclusion.
Hmm.
But I think Fushi still needs some time to accept this. Like I think he is still on his way to accepting it, as we've kind of touched on. But it was nice to see, I guess, to hear those words from Tonari, and something else that she mentioned in that conversation was how Fushi wanting to, I guess, get rid of those feeling or get rid of pain is similar to the Knocker's goal.
Hmm.
I just thought that was interesting. how is really the same, but obviously they have different ways to go about it.
I just think it's the Knocker's idea of suffering and what Fushi is thinking what suffering is are a little different, I think.
Yeah.
The Knockers think life is just suffering in general. Existence is suffering.
Right. Yeah,
But Fushi doesn't think that.
that's true.
So,
Fushi does also see the good parts of it.
yeah.
True.
But you're right. She says that you can't really live life without suffering. I think that in terms of my own philosophy, that you need the bad in order to see the good sometimes.
Hmm.
And not to say that we should try to fill our things with bad things so that the good things seem better, but
No.
it's more so that we have happiness because we can compare it to times where we haven't felt as great.
Right.
Um, and so like pain and suffering can also be great motivators for us to become better or try to find that happiness in our lives and whatnot. So I
Hmm.
mean I feel like you can't have one without the other. um I mean, at the same time, I'm not gonna try to make sure everyone is suffering. So trust me, this is for your own good. uh eh, but I do think that it's unavoidable in a way, just kind of a how the world works kind of
Right.
situation.
Exactly. Like pain and suffering will come to us even if we don't seek it out. That's kind of, yeah, it is just kind of part of life, sadly.
Yeah.
But as you say, yeah, thanks to that, I think we do enjoy other parts of life even more.
Right. And speaking of kind of the pain that Tonari is hinting at feeling, well, what are your thoughts about it? Because she says that when she got the young form, she also got new words to go along with it, but she didn't want to tell Fushi about him. She wants to
Mm-hmm.
keep it to herself. So,
Yeah.
any thoughts about that?
I mean, of course, I have some thoughts about that, and of course, those thoughts are, her potential romantic feelings for Fushi.
Heck yeah!
I gave it
Heck
some,
yeah!
I gave it some thought, and I honestly, couldn't think of anything else that it could mean. Did you have any other idea what it could mean, or do you think that's the only thing?
Well, I think that's potentially the big thing, because it does feel like that's been hinted at big time in the previous volumes.
Yes.
But if she is implying other things, I thought, well, maybe the just studying and being back in a social life, or in being part of society, that can give people some anxiety, and maybe she just didn't want to burden him at all with that kind of stuff for whatever reason. I guess the other thing is maybe a little more like biological, natural. Maybe just as a woman, she deals with certain type of things. You know what I mean?
Ah, fair.
Something that's depending on when she died, or I can't don't know the age. Like maybe she went past that part in her life. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, maybe. Although I don't think that is what she's referring to, even though, yeah, it would make sense as well. I don't think. Well, no, actually, I don't. I definitely don't think that because she also said, other than not wanting to tell Fushi about it, she also said that he might be able to help her with it.
Maybe you could. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, she says this problem is mine alone, which is something you probably would say if it's like more like so feelings based than anatomy based.
Maybe, right.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but no, I when I first read it, I was there right there with you, man. It's like,
Right.
oh, let's go, or poor Tonati, or I don't even know. Like clearly, the moment is not right for her to, if she does confess these feelings. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily the right time.
Yeah, not right now, but sometime. One day.
I hope so. So there is a part where when she's going to check Fushi's body, um, she's taking a can of or case of kerosene.
Mm.
I feel like that's going to play a role, and maybe this should have been saved for predictions, but I feel like it's going to play a role in the next volume.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed too specific, kind of.
Exactly.
I agree. And Although, didn't they say that the container was empty?
But there was like 4 or 5 other containers, unless they're all empty.
Oh,
In that storage room.
okay, okay. Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense, yeah, to assume that there's gonna be something there.
Because it just seems so random otherwise. Like she was trying to go to that room,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. And it was just really cool to kind of see Tonari in action.
Yeah, it's been too
Uh,
long. I
yeah.
love seeing badass Tonari.
Yeah.
I was so happy that she got all this focus in those last 2 chapters or whatever it was. Here, it was awesome.
I agree. Hey, with Gugu out of the way, just saying, it's like, who else does he rely on? Bond's always traveling around. I mean,
Right.
it's like,
Mm.
I think he could be the best. Anyway, let's stop now.
uh,
It's your chance, Tonari. Okay, now stop.
let's move on to Yuki Aoki next then. So when they made that photo album, or well, rather when they got it back from Mizuha's dad,
Uh-huh.
one of the photos fell out of the album. Even
Mm.
though Yuki claimed that he had stuck all the pictures in real good.
Mm-hmm.
I was confused as to like what that meant. It
Mm.
seemed like it meant something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ideas about that?
I do.
Ooh, give it to me.
And actually, it has connection to the Ouija board as well.
Oh,
I think, I think that Misaha's mom is around. Izumi is her name, right?
yeah.
Izumi is, despite having shown that she's left, she's actually around, and it's not the other two that I forget their names. They're sweet guys, but I can't remember their names.
Oh,
Fenn and
Nixon.
Nixon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe they're around, but I would be surprised if they're still captured or whatever. And I feel like it just makes sense, especially with that hint of the photo falling. That I'm not exactly sure if they can actually affect the physical world or not. Um, but if they can, then I feel like Izumi would be the one to have done that, and then also guided them to where um, the entrance was. That's my theory.
Mm. So she, so you're saying that in her 5 form she took that photo out of the album?
Yeah, in somehow, like she was able to physically do that. I
Okay.
don't know how, but
Right.
just a similar way how she was able to move the Ouija board.
Exactly. If yeah, whether that was her or Fenna Nixon, right? But yeah, I
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not Fenn and Nixon.
you're saying
I'm
it.
saying it's Izumi.
Okay. Okay. I
They theorize it's Fenn and Nixon, but I think they're
right.
still trapped or whatever. It was never confirmed that they escaped.
It's true that they mentioned that they may have been trapped last time or whenever 1 or 2 volumes back, whatever it was. But I wonder if they are actually because I feel like
Or did they get out?
I don't actually remember, but regardless, I don't think that they should be able to be trapped because all fire are equal.
Well, that's why it was so weird, though. That's why it was so weird. You know?
Exactly, that is why it's weird. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something we don't understand.
true, true. You're right. At the very least, it's interesting to know that because with the Ouija board, it definitely was like someone was
Some
affecting
fi,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that is really cool to actually know that the fi can actually affect the physical world, even if it's just a little bit. And I thought it was so great how the Occult Research Club kind of brought up that board. Like it's so fitting, and that they I don't know if they
Yeah.
necessarily believe or the two other guys like I don't think they necessarily believed in it or like understood anything, but they were just so into it anyway, which is funny.
I wouldn't be surprised they did. They seem pretty, I don't know, uh, impressionable
Actually,
uh,
true.
middle schoolers.
That's true. Actually, um,
Definitely not Hanna, obviously, but
right, right. Although they know Fushi and they know like so they are aware of like all these supernatural things. Like they've seen Fushi shapeshift and all those sorts of things. So I don't know. I don't know how much they know. But yeah, Yuki is determined to confess his feelings to Mizuha. I mean, he has. It feels like he has been determined to do that for a long time now. But in this book, he
yeah, I
really
know. It's almost a broken record.
a
It
little
is
bit,
a broken record. I'm a little tired of it, to be
a
honest.
little bit. But the lengths he went to in this volume were, I think, bigger than they had been before. So,
True.
uh, that's something.
Although, yeah. Yeah, it's something. It does feel like that the Hana Mizuha relationship is more important than the and has more weight than the Yuki Mizuha. And it's
Mm.
almost as if Yuki's just there to motivate Hana
Yeah.
um, to do something.
Yeah, I agree with that.
However, I still think back to that time where Yuki and Mizuha were in like the club room or somewhere,
Mm.
and they had that kind of conversation about liking someone, and it kind of had a connecting moment. But they've never had anything really like that, or at least that personal since. And it's mostly been Hana and Mizuha stuff. So
Right.
I don't know. It does feel like that's. I'm not saying like that's like the ship that they're going for. I mean, it could easily be, but I'm just saying it's more so the focus is Mizuha and Hana, their relationship, their friendship.
Right. It definitely feels that way, and I also hope that they'll continue that way. Even though Hana seems to be a smaller character than Yuki overall, I'm hoping for her to get more focused than Yuki, honestly. At least in terms of their relationship to Mizuha.
Do you really think that Hana is a smaller character than Yuki?
I feel like Yuki has had more kind of time to shine overall than Hana has. Or he has more of a presence in this arc than Hana has had. At least that's how it feels to me
Hmm.
overall. However, I think Hana's moments, like when she has been present, have usually been stronger than Yuki's. Even
Exactly. Yeah,
though
I feel that.
he
Yes.
probably has more panel time, but she has more impact whenever she does appear. So
Exactly.
I guess in that sense they may be kind of equal overall,
Hmm.
ish. But
It just for as part of the team and important Yuki is to Fushi and everything. It feels like he doesn't have a whole lot going on for him. Granted, he is a young middle schooler, so I get it. And he's had a couple moments and whatnot, but there's not a whole lot to him versus Hana, who, like you said, hasn't had as much screen time, but uh, when she is on there, it's just very fascinating to see
mm,
what's happening with her and Mizuha and exactly what is going on in her mind and whatnot. So,
mm-hmm.
but one other thing I have about Yuki, and then I have another question, just about the confession. Yeah, he is going to all these lengths, but it almost feels like it's it's becoming a joke.
Oh.
Like
Yeah.
that as he'll confess, just she'll be like no, and then that'll be it. You know, and maybe that's just no will be the end answer anyway. But there's gonna be no weight to it. It's just gonna be I can see it just being like a side panel type of thing. He's like, oh no, oh well, like that kind of a thing.
I really hope that's not the case, but
I'm worried,
well,
like because it feels like there's just been no importance placed on it really. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking about it.
I mean, I understand the worry. I think it makes sense to worry about that based on everything you said, like explain how their bond hasn't really been shown to be all that deep and all that.
Uh-huh.
But the confession will come. Like it's got to come. After all of this build up, the confession needs to come one way or another. I'm expecting it next volume.
Yeah.
And I,
Yeah.
I guess I'll keep up hope that it will be more than just a joke or a quick little thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will be able to have like a heart to heart conversation, even though they haven't had a lot of those before. It would still be nice
Yeah.
if they could have that now or here.
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily saying that, you know, oh, if she says no, or I'm not saying, absolutely not saying that if she says no, then it's stupid, it's pointless. It's
No,
that's
no,
not what I'm trying to get
no.
at.
I
It's
understand that.
it's more so the weight of it and everything.
Right.
Like the example you were giving is perfect. That's I would really like that.
Yeah, and that conversation can still result in a rejection, which honestly I sort of see that mostly actually.
Yeah. I mean, I would be super surprised if it turns out that she has feelings after everything that's been going down. You
Yeah.
know, I'd
Yeah.
I'd be like shocked.
I think I would be too. Mm.
And then my question was just for clarification or repeating your own question. Did you have a idea of why the photo fell out?
Oh
Why
yeah.
exactly?
Well, I had. a little bit of a thought. My best guess was only that Mizuha's father may have taken that picture out, like maybe to have a closer look at it,
Oh,
like maybe because he was reminiscing about the old days, kind of missing the old days, missing his real wife, perhaps, and stuff like that. Could have been that, maybe. That's a
maybe.
very
Yeah.
different
No,
answer
that's a
from yours,
good.
but
Well, no, you're right. And maybe the Ouija board and this are separate things, or maybe I was completely wrong about that.
actually, I think I like both answers.
But I think that's really cool if the dad is actually trying to give them a message in some way, whether it was intentional or not. Like maybe it was intentional. Maybe he left that picture out in hopes of trying to get Fushi to, or well, I guess you could argue that could be a trap. Like that was their intention to get them to come. But maybe because he's the one who shot himself, maybe
Yeah.
he was trying to send out help in a way.
Yeah, man.
That'd be very interesting. I like
That
that.
would be that would be really interesting. um, man, yeah, he is mysterious right now. Very well. Let's talk a bit about Hana next. I thought it was incredibly adorable and really really satisfying to see how Hana was playing with March, just like Perona used to do.
Yes.
That was so great. I mean, and since we've discussed before how like kind of the similarities with Perona and Hana, like the feather hair tie, the hairstyle, the eyebrows, and I think you even speculated early on about maybe her eyes looking uh like Perona's,
Hmm.
like, and yeah, to see this here makes all of that even more credible. I think, like the
Right.
fact that she is supposed to be some maybe not a descendant of Perona, but at the very least, well, maybe a descendant of a relative of Perona's.
I'm thinking that if anybody doubted that Hana was in a way a reincarnation of Perona
Right.
or just looks like her, do you still now after all this? Like, to me this is crystal clear evidence that Oima is hinting at some sort of similarity or some sort of relationship with Perona. I'm not saying
Mm.
like descendant per se, but maybe they're, a fire returned or just I really don't know. I don't understand why she looks like Perona or why she's here, but I feel like that whole interaction with March basically is a billboard on the highway saying like this is Perona, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was so adorable.
And we do see Hana's eyes at the end there.
Wait, did I miss that?
Yeah, so at the very last page,
Oh,
she said, I mean,
oh
it's
my gosh.
yeah.
I mean, I did see this. I don't know why I didn't think of that as being an eye reveal, but yeah, you're right. It
I
totally
don't
is.
know. I don't know if this is the only angle you've ever had of her eye, but I mean, it's better than anything else that we had in this volume.
Definitely. And yeah, like again, since it's so long between the volumes of these days, we do forget things sometimes. But yeah, I also
Hmm.
don't remember seeing her eyes before now. So yeah, at least as far as we're aware at the moment, this is the first time. And man, yeah, nice. And yeah, that definitely. I mean, it's a bit of a strange angle, but I can definitely see that being Perona's eyes.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
and that's why it would make the whole Mizuha and Hana thing so interesting because it would be Kahaku and Perona.
Precisely.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, and that goes to the whole kissing scene from, or the forcible kissing scene from Mizuha. I think what that was that the last volume.
I think it was the most recent one. Yeah.
It could be similar to her feelings for Fushi, that the Kahaku feelings for Perona are coming out as well. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah. And honestly, I kind of could imagine it makes sense for, well, obviously we know that Hayase's will lives on through that Phi,
Yeah.
but I think it also makes sense to assume that maybe the other descendants of Hayase before Mizuha have also maybe put some of their own wills,
Yeah.
or desires onto this Phi, which could explain this. So maybe some of Kahaku's old desires for for Perona
Oh,
have
that's
been passed on
that's
in addition
interesting.
to Hayase's older desires.
Yeah. So that this plays an interesting idea into what does Mizuha really want herself versus what is she being influenced to. I mean,
Right.
she is who
Mm.
she is, and it's again hard to say to separate the will of Hayase versus their own
Yeah.
will really.
True.
Um, but if this is an aspect where she kind of fights or comes to terms with what she really wants and not kind of these you know strange urges like she has with Fushi and potentially Hanna maybe,
Right.
then maybe the whole Yuki aspect comes in and that's something that she chooses versus that
Oh.
the urges. That's just an idea I had. Maybe that would make it a little more substantial,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
or have more weight to it all. But I'd also be fine with her actually having feelings for Hana in a way.
Absolutely. I mean,
But
yeah, but I still like that idea that yeah, her somehow realizing that this is more of her own feelings or something like that.
yeah,
But
I don't know.
maybe.
But I think right now what's well, they're both interesting. What Mizuha how Mizuha really feels, but also how Hana really feels. It's as I was saying, Yuki's kind of a motivation for Hana to uh talk to Mizuha, and whether she is actually going to say yes, I have feelings too, or maybe that's the right way to say it. Like whether she's going to confess or just say I care for you deeply as a friend.
Mm.
I want us to repair this friendship. I think this is something that she needs to get off her chest. I think that's where we're leading to, and I think Yuki kind of gave her the confidence to do that. It's almost like having a wingman in that aspect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that is good.
So, although it would be kind of I didn't think about this until now. It would be really I don't know how do I put this. How would you feel if you encourage your friend to confess, they confess, get rejected, and then you confess to that person? Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't think I would I don't think I would encourage a friend of mine to confess to someone that I also had feelings for in the first place.
That's what Hana's doing if she does have
If
those feelings. You know
true,
what I mean?
right, if she does, then yeah. And
But
if
maybe
that's
she
the
doesn't
case,
then.
oh, that's complicated. Oh, in
That
that
is very
case.
complicated. But
Yeah.
maybe she doesn't. Maybe it is just that let's repair this friendship kind of a thing.
Right. And I mean, I sort of got well, actually, yeah. I guess last volume when Mizuha and Hana had that scene together that
Mm-hmm.
I guess that wasn't super clear, I guess, on Hana's feelings. Like I guess
Yeah, I know.
we didn't exactly get to understand exactly her feelings then and there. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than she was upset.
Precisely, yeah, she was very upset because of what happened right before that.
Well, and also
I
because
guess
of
yeah,
that.
the situation itself was also a bit weird, but
I mean, look, if someone
it was
someone kisses me, I'd probably be upset too.
it was a bad day, I guess, in general.
It was a bad day. It was a bad day.
Yeah. Anything else on Hana?
I guess same topic. When Yuki says I'm gonna confess, why is she blushing there exactly, or why is she flustered about all that? I guess it's just his intensity. No matter what, maybe that's why she'd be flustered, and
Could
maybe
be.
she's just worried about, or it just has complex emotions about Mizuha and their whole thing, and you know, do we push the issue? Do we leave her alone? So yeah, maybe that's what it. But it's also just kind of gives you pause a little bit. It's like, why exactly is that?
True.
Is that her expression?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I could see it as being like she before this moment she wasn't necessarily planning on necessarily taking any big actions like that, but when this
Mm,
all happened she kind of realized that yeah, we can actually do this. Like I
mm,
want to see her again. Kind of
gotcha.
maybe although but yeah, it is a hard one to exactly understand right now, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this volume that are hard to completely understand, and I'm hoping the
Yeah,
next volume is the kind of floodgates opening in certain aspects.
for sure. And shall we talk about Messar next?
Oh, sure.
Or, well, whose name I will never actually know how to exactly say. Is it Messar or Messar or Mess?
I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, we know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
I like to see how mature and helpful and just really sweet he was in this volume.
Yeah.
Like, in a way we hadn't really seen a lot of before. Like, he got gifts for Gugu and Hyro, which I thought was awesome because if I recall, last time he only gave gifts to all the girls,
Oh, yeah.
leaving Gugu and Hyro hanging. But now he actually gave gifts to them, which was super, super sweet.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. That was great.
mhm.
And he got he called for Bone to come back because he could tell that something was up with Fushi.
Precisely, yeah, he
You
wanted
know,
him to hurry
it
back, yeah.
it almost seems un characteristic for him. You
Yeah,
know.
no, I thought it was so sweet to see these things from him in this volume, and also how he was good emotional support to Gugu early in this volume, just giving
Yeah.
him some good advice and yeah, just trying to make Gugu feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously not a huge role, but still, what we got, I was super happy with, and just
Huh.
yeah, not really like anything we've seen before, but still super nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, was that all on Messer?
Yeah. That's it.
Then let's talk about Gugu next.
Oh man, I really got emotional
Mm,
in some of the Goo Goo sections. Just I don't know.
yeah.
I'm still just recovering from volumes 3 and 4. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know what you mean. Yeah, and really like being there, being in the Boozman's house in Takunaha again, seeing
yeah.
all those old pictures like of Reen, and learning that Reen had waited for Gugu all her life, like until she died, she stayed unmarried,
Uh,
waiting for Gugu. Just knowing
she's
that for
wearing the
sure.
ring.
Mm,
She's wearing the ring.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, oh my gosh. It's so
That was a big oof.
so sad.
And Gugu finally got the crayfish mask. Like I never thought that would
Right.
be a thing.
Me neither. Yeah, that was also very sweet. Oh,
But also people suck, you know? Like
for sure.
I like to think the world is sometimes a little more understanding, but also there's some just really cruel people no matter the age and just I don't know. I guess I also wouldn't be surprised if someone was bullied for something like that in the same way that Gugu was. So it's just
Yeah,
kind of sad to see.
absolutely. But what was awesome to see was that they have this festival in Takanaha every year where they honor Gugu. That was
Yeah,
so
that was
that was so
awesome.
touching to me
Yeah,
seeing that
same.
hundreds of years later there's this massive festival every single year where they just celebrating Gugu's honor. So yeah, incredible, especially considering what his life was like back then. Like he was shunned by everyone who
Hmm.
saw him. But now
Yeah,
it's like the opposite. Everyone's
they love
celebrating
him
him. They
there.
love yeah.
Yeah,
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
so great.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, it was tough seeing him want to leave, and I felt for Fushi, but
Right.
I, it was the right decision. I'm glad Fushi was able to let go in that aspect. And Gugu is able to be in a place where he feels more welcome.
Right. I think this allows both Fushi and Gugu to grow.
Yeah, and yeah, now they can still talk to each other. They thank goodness for modern day technology, and you know it's just great. Like
Yeah.
I just think they're in a much better place now.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was beautiful. I wasn't expecting this I guess Gugu focus uh,
No, I wasn't
in
either.
this arc kind of in general. But yeah, what we got in this volume was absolutely amazing.
I agree. Although I will say, before this volume, I did feel like Gugu wasn't really doing much, and I was like, okay, well, what's up with Gugu? Like,
True.
can we get a little bit more of him? And this was not where I expected it was going, but it was nice
Yeah.
to give him something to do and something emotionally impactful as it was.
Absolutely. So let's talk a bit about March next. She started school, uh,
Yeah.
and she was off to a pretty bad start there with the girls. That was
Oh,
pretty
her
sad.
facial expressions.
Yeah,
Oh,
on from the class photo.
Yeah.
uh,
Poor Marge.
yeah, that was really, honestly, that made me really sad. Like the beginning of
It did
that.
too.
But then seeing, after she befriended, like, well, she played with Mimori, which was something I wanted to happen.
Mimori.
So that was great to see Mimori kind of save the day, and she even seemed to become friends with those girls that were kind of mean to her before. So
Yeah,
I love how sweet that was. Like it
that
all
was great.
all ended well.
It really did.
Mm.
Thank you, secret attention grabbing technique.
Yeah, that was great. It actually saved the day that time, kind of.
Her face when she puts the stickers on the album, oh
Mm,
gosh, that smirk just like,
yes.
yeah, I'm an artistic genius. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
right.
so good.
So satisfied. I love it. Yeah. Anything else on March?
Yes, but it also has to do with Echo.
All right, go for it.
Just freaking out over chopsticks use, and
Yeah.
but that when Fushi comes in, it comes back to the home and just sees Echo in a rage and basically March dead on the ground. Like that was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but also made me really worried, like, for a second.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
what the
True.
hell
Like, what
happened here?
happened? Absolutely. And yeah, just both of them at the table. Well, especially Echo. She just went nuts. Just she could. I mean, chopsticks, man. I guess you just got to get the muscle for it. I don't know. I mean, like little kids don't just automatically know how to use chopsticks. There's training chopsticks, but still,
Right.
it's just funny to see their reactions to it all.
Yeah.
But then they finally do it, and that was great. That was beautiful.
It
Like,
was, yeah, it was great.
it was also like a nice lesson of seeing growth and growing through life.
For sure.
Did you like when Fushi kind of pictured March growing up? Did you? It was neat to see, but also like sad. I don't know.
I liked it because I think in that moment it really did a good job at visualizing kind of what Fushi was struggling with
Hmm.
internally at the time. So for that, I really liked it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Plus, it was also fun to see March in different
Yeah.
stages of her life.
Yeah,
And we
exactly.
do have the volume 2 cover art, which also has her as an adult, but
True, we do as well. Mhm.
this gave us a bit more.
Actually, you reminded me of that. It makes me think like she could actually become a mommy eventually, right? Maybe.
Absolutely, I believe she will.
I hope so.
She's gotta. Before the whole series is over, she will have become a mother, like hands down.
Otherwise, Oima has failed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly. Yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Sorry.
Cool. Any other characters you want to talk about?
Hydro graduates and he gets a bike.
Yes.
I also just like his relationship with Gugu and how he's just kind of stood up for him.
Yeah.
Didn't think they would be as close as they seemed to be, but that
Right.
was nice.
Actually, speaking of that, I was wondering if maybe at least Hyro has developed some romantic feelings for Gugu. I that was
Wait,
something.
really?
Yeah. I started
Huh.
thinking about on the graduation day when he
Mm-hmm.
said like he's gonna miss Gugu the most or whatever, however he expressed it. Plus, also, I guess how close they have become. I obviously it's not necessarily romantic feelings at all, but I couldn't help but think about it a little bit. Just the possibility of that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to your point, like he was pretty popular with the ladies, but he never acted on that. So
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, maybe. Then moving into predictions then. And next volume is going to be volume 18, which will be the 6th volume since we started this modern day, present day arc, kind of.
Ah.
And looking at how the story has been structured and kind of paced before,
Mm-hmm.
it's always kind of been a 6 volumes per era, kind of in a way. Because
Oh.
volumes 1 to 6 was kind of the Pioran and Hayase era. Then 7 to
Hmm.
12 was kind of the Kahaku and Ban era. And now
Ah.
13 to 18 supposedly might be this era. Obviously, this isn't necessarily the case, but I guess if it doesn't necessarily change eras after Volume 18, then at the very least, I expect maybe a short time skip. Like we've discussed the possibility
Yeah.
of having like a
Mm-hmm.
4 or so year time skip, so that not only
Right.
can we get to see all these younger characters grow a little bit older, which I think would be neat, but also a time skip like that would mean that we would probably get to see the end of the Beholder, kind of, or well, seeing him fully become Satoru.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's got to be something we will get to see, right? I feel like
Has to
we got
be.
it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, in this arc's case, I guess maybe it won't be a shift in eras, but maybe just a little time skip of 4 years or so. Um,
Yeah.
but I am at least expecting Volume 18 to be kind of a big climax volume, similar to how we had the Jananda in Volume 6 and the end of Renreal arc in Volume 12. I'm expecting something big, something kind of like the ending of a larger arc like this.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. I had totally forgotten about the 6 volumes things, but I think knowing that it just makes sense, and I think it where the story and where the cliffhanger is, um, I think it matches well with how other kind of second to last volumes have gone down for the story.
Right.
Thinking of the Bone era, I'm pretty sure the cliffhanger before that final volume of that era, I'm pretty sure like Fushi was basically sucked in all. He was just like the blob.
Uh,
The ball.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was the cliffhanger, and then March comes in and to save the day.
Hmm.
But that was a pretty big cliffhanger.
This also kind of has this kind of yeah, kind of same feel, kind of the second last
Right,
volume.
really big cliffhanger. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I could be wrong. Maybe there's something even bigger that could happen, but
Yeah.
that feels like a pretty big moment. And plus, we saw Hanna's eyes, even if it is a different angle. So I mean,
Mm.
that's I don't know, that's pretty
It
big.
is. I agree. It is. And I'm still kind of mad at myself for having missed that. Oh well.
Well, me being the Perona simp that I am, like, how could I even miss that?
True. Yeah, if you had missed that, that would have been worse. Well, I'm probably gonna predict though that like in addition to the next volume being a big one, like probably ending a big arc like this, I'm also gonna predict that Mizuha, I think her life is going to improve. It's gonna get better.
Hmm.
I think I'm gonna go out and say, however, I don't think her life is gonna become, I guess, ideal. Like she's
Hmm.
still gonna have struggles. Maybe something similar to Mimori's situation.
Hmm.
I think if I'm gonna say anything about, I guess Mizuha's outcome by the end of the next volume, I think that's gonna be my guess, or by the end of this arc or whatever. That's my guess
Hmm.
for her. Do you have any ideas for or thoughts on what you think her end here is gonna be? Not necessarily the end of the whole story, because maybe the next arc is gonna continue her with her.
Right.
Maybe in an older age or something, but for now, like for this age or whatever, for her, I think it's gonna be something like that.
Yeah. I think previously I had wondered if they would do like a 4 year skip, but they would still continue the Mizuha knocker controlled Mizuha in a way. Um, like it would take more time for that story to develop. But this where it is right now does feel like we're heading into the end of that. We're ending into some sort of conclusion there.
Mm,
And maybe she'll come to some sort of realization. But on the other hand, maybe she does get away and still hasn't changed. I'm not. I'm not sure, to be honest.
mm.
But if we do get a conclusion here, I would hope that she comes to a reconciliation with her friends. They, or she relies on them, and then in the end, she improves her relationship with her mother. I'm still unsure if somehow the Phi or Izumi's Phi kicks out the knocker. I don't think that's possible.
Right.
Um, I'm so confused about all that.
Yeah, yeah, it's incredibly confusing.
But I do think there needs to be some sort of moment between those two, especially after they went through all the trouble of getting the photos and everything. Like
True.
it just feels like it's not, you can't leave it touched. They got to address it again.
Definitely. I hope so. And yeah, I can't remember if it was the previous volume or the one before that, but there was a recent volume anyway where it was probably the previous one where Izumi's Fi, we just kind of saw her walking away, kind of laughing to herself, and we speculated
Right.
about, does that symbolize her leaving this world and going to paradise?
Mm.
I'm still kind of afraid that that may have been the case. And if that is the case,
Oh
then maybe we
yeah, I forgot
won't
about
be
that.
able to get a conclusion like this, which I agree it
No,
would be
that's
really
not
nice if we could
no.
get that, but I also wouldn't be
Mm.
too surprised if we don't get it because obviously this story has been brutal in those ways before.
True.
So,
True.
yeah, yeah.
Fair. I forgot that was another possibility. Like for some reason I thought because I knew she had left,
Mm,
but I guess my like head canon was that she was still around.
right. I mean, and maybe she still is, she might still be.
Well, she could be, but you're right. There's still a strong possibility that she just moved on.
Mm,
But I'm still kind of head canoning that she hasn't given up, and that she's still around, and we just Bone's not here to tell us if she is there or not.
right, right.
So that yeah,
True.
I guess that's just my thoughts on that.
Nice, nice. I think just because you're saying that, then I'm gonna say that my prediction in terms of her situation is that she did move on to paradise. Just so that we have
Oh,
contrasting predictions about her.
sure. I
It'll make
mean,
it more fun.
I I think that's still definitely a possibility. Still,
Right? No, absolutely. I see both as possibilities, absolutely.
yeah.
But it's more fun to have one thing that you believe in a little extra, and to have
You're
contrasting ones
right. You're
too.
right. It'd definitely be a more painful one, that's
Right.
for sure. But that's
Mm-hmm.
not you know unheard of for this story at all.
Precisely.
I guess I already mentioned this one, but I feel like they'll use kerosene to take down the fake Fushi. Um,
Yes.
and those four girls in that room are gonna have a big part in that. And yeah, I don't know what's gonna go down with Tonari exactly. I feel like she'll be okay, but I also if we're getting like a time skip of some kind. Well, okay, hear me out.
Hmm.
So what if we do get that time skipped and Fushi sends off the beholder, he becomes Satoru,
Huh.
and he starts understanding more of his powers or whatever. Maybe the next part of his growth is the family thing, and
Right.
that's when the whole Tonari shipping really commences. Yeah, so we had to have the time skip in order to get to that, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously they wouldn't, get married right then. I'm just saying like
But yeah, no, for
the
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 romance to
romance
begin.
part.
Right, right.
Exactly.
I do
Exactly.
agree. That would be super nice. Oh, that would be so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I got.
Awesome, awesome. Well then, we made it through the 17th volume of To Your Eternity.
Woohoo!
And man, I am excited for the next one. Not just because of the cliffhanger, but also because of I feel like it's gonna be like an arc ender in a way.
Yeah.
So it's so exciting.
Agreed. And talking it over like this and still not getting all the answers that I want. I'm kind of like really impatient for this next one.
Mm,
Much more so than the previous. I mean, yes, I was excited to get the next volume after reading volume 16, but the way volume 16 ends is just Fushi's going home. Like, it wasn't that crazy.
mm,
But yeah, for me, this one is just all the stakes are here for the time being, and
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, ready to see how it all comes together. If the 18 is the arc conclusion.
Right, right. Yeah, no, it's so juicy. Um, and well, before we end this episode, I figured I would give a bit of an announcement to the dedicated listeners who have made it to the end of this episode. Next week, we are starting to cover a new manga on the podcast. I know we pretty recently started covering Jujutsu Kaisen, but well, we wanted to do another one as well. We're not going to stop Jujutsu Kaisen, we're still going to do that one as well, but we wanted to begin covering another one in addition to Jujutsu Kaisen. And the first one out of those is coming out next week. I may actually have spoiled which manga it is to one of the guys on the Discord server.
Oh, really?
Not saying who, but yeah, to everyone else, I figured we'll let this be a surprise. But in a week, we'll have a new manga discussion for volume 1 of a manga series out on the podcast. One that I'm super excited for, by the way. We'll just say that. But yeah. That's all on that. Any final words on the volume or in general, James?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Sweet, me too. Then, if you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga, and it would be lovely if you'd like to support us by either rating our show on the podcast platforms or subscribing to our channel Umami Manga on YouTube. If you like this episode, please share it with anyone you think might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time, and we'll talk about Volume 18. Bye bye!
See you later! Actually, I forgot one more thing. I bought the volume.
Oh, you bought the volume for the first time.
I've never done that before. I did for the first time.
Sweet.
And I forgot it over my bookshelf. So give me one sec.